All right, so we're going live on this plan of Harris's on how she is going to lower costs for America, how she's gonna save you a little bit of money in your budget, bring your paycheck up, how she's gonna do everything she plans to do in her campaign. So let's go ahead and hear what she has to say.
Mike D!
She just had her introductory speaker there. No big deal. I kind of cut him off.
Hello, family and friends. Oh, it's good to be back in North Carolina. Oh, it's good to see everyone.
She's in North Carolina.
Oh, it's good to see everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Please have a seat if you have a seat. Please have a seat. Mike D, so Mike D's Barbecue, let me tell you one of the biggest fans of Mike D's Barbecue. My husband dug him off. And thank you, Mike, for sharing your story. And I'm just so sorry for what your family has been through, but you have, out of an incredible tragedy, done so much for the community, and you are such a role model. So thank you, Mike, for everything you do.
All right. Let's get into it.
And good afternoon to everyone here. Thank you to all of the incredible leaders with us today, including my friend, the Governor, Roy Cooper. Where is he? Here with his daughter. Every time I land in North Carolina, I'm just literally coming down the stairs of Air Force Two, I will shout to Roy Cooper, "What number is it, Roy?" And today he shouted 16, which is the number of times I've been in this beautiful state since I've been vice president. Every time. I want to thank your next governor, Attorney General Josh Stein. He's doing incredible work. He's going to be an extraordinary governor. Representatives Adam, Manning, Foushee, and Nickel, thank you all for your support, for your friendship, for your leadership. Chair Thomas of the Wake County Board of Commissioners, thank you for all that you do.
Oh, yeah.
And to all the leaders that are here today, including the students and instructors here at Wake Tech North. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all. So listen, this election, I do strongly believe, is about two very different visions for our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. We see that contrast clearly in many ways, including when it comes to how we think about the economy. So our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. At that time, we sadly remember the millions of Americans that were out of work. We were facing one of the worst—
Those Americans are still out of work.
—worst economic crises in modern history. And today, by virtually every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world.
That's not saying much. This is America.
We have created 16 million new jobs. We've made historic investments in infrastructure, in chips manufacturing, in clean energy. And new numbers this week alone show that inflation is down under 3%.
Inflation was just reported this week. It's at 2.9%, which means it went back to our average. We usually try to stay around 1 to 3% to say, this is nominal inflation. So inflation is back to what it used to be, which you would kind of expect it to be at this point. We're many years past COVID, which brought on all of these supply chain issues and then massive government spending to bring up inflation, right? So she's going to take credit that inflation is finally back to the average, but she's not going to talk about how inflation is still destroying these people's lives.
And as President of the United States, it will be my intention to build on the foundation of this progress. Still, we know that many Americans don't yet feel that progress in their daily lives. Costs are still too high.
Yeah.
And on a deeper level, for too many people, no matter how much they work, it feels so hard to just be able to get ahead.
Right.
As president, I will be laser focused on creating opportunities for the middle class that advance their economic security, stability, and dignity. Together, we will build what I call an opportunity economy. An opportunity economy.
Do lay out your plan here with specific details on how you're going to do that.
An economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Everyone, regardless of who they are or where they start, has an opportunity to build wealth for themselves and their children. And where we remove the barriers to opportunity so anyone who wants to start a business or advance their career can access the tools and the resources that are necessary to do so.
Well, I'm going to create an economy where everybody just gets $1 million. Everybody who votes for me just gets $1 million. I'm not going to give you the details on how that's going to happen, but make sure you vote for me because I'm giving you $1 million.
I will focus on cutting needless bureaucracy and unnecessary regulatory red tape and encouraging innovative technologies while protecting consumers and creating a stable business environment with consistent and transparent rules of the road. As president, I will bring together labor with small businesses and major companies to invest in America, to create good jobs, achieve broad-based growth, and ensure that America continues to define the future and lead the world.
So this is just more emotional talk. She doesn't have an actual plan. Like, and if she does, please say it. I would love to hear it. I'd love to see what you actually want to do. But she's just appealing to emotion. That's really all she's doing. She's saying, I'm going to give you all $1 million. And people are like, oh, $1 million? Okay, let's go. Let's get $1 million. People are stupid. You're really stupid. Like, ask her the details. Ask her what she's actually going to do.
And key to creating this opportunity economy is building up our middle class. It is essential. The middle class is one of America's greatest strengths. And to protect it then, we must defend basic principles, such as your salary should be enough to provide you and your family with a good quality of life.
That's right. Everybody gets $1 million a year now.
Such as no child should have to grow up in poverty. Such as after years of hard work, you should be able to retire with dignity. And you should be able to join a union if you choose. Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency, because I strongly believe when the middle class is strong, America is strong. So in the weeks to come, I will address in greater detail my plans to build an opportunity economy. And today, I will focus on one element that's on the minds of many Americans as they pay their bills at the kitchen table or walk the aisles of a grocery store.
There you go. Finally, something.
And that is lowering the cost of living.
$1 million to everybody. How are you going to do
Every
it?
day across our nation, families talk about their plans for the future, their ambitions, their aspirations for themselves, for their children. And they talk about how they're going to be able to actually achieve them financially.
So she has a plan, but not for a couple of weeks. So she has a plan name. Exactly. Like at this point in the race, it's just starting to piss me off. Really. Like you can't keep coming out here and saying, I'm going to give everybody money and we're going to lower all these costs and groceries are going to go down. And people are stupid enough to believe her. Like she didn't say anything. She's just telling you what you want to hear. Like, come on.
Because look, the bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes.
Everybody's got bills, right? Yeah, I know you all got bills out there in the crowd. I'm going to do away with bills. Ban bills.
Clothes, prescription medication. After all that, for many families, there's not much left at the end of the month.
That's right.
I grew up in a middle-class household. For most of my childhood, we were renters. My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was. I kind of understood what it meant, but we called her Mommy. Mommy was so excited, it just made us excited that she was so excited.
First of all, I don't believe for 1 second that she struggled for a day in her life. She may have rented. Maybe. I don't know if I actually believe her. But for her to be up here and try to say that she knows struggle, this lady doesn't know struggle. She hasn't struggled a day in her life. No wonder her dad wrote a book about wealth distribution. Exactly. Like, come on. Like, you have to be stupid. Like, just dumb to believe that this lady's struggling. Her and Trump, both of them are crazy wealthy. They don't know what it's like to have a mom that works at Walmart and a dad that's laid off at a factory. Don't lie to me. You don't know what it's like to be in the military and be deployed and leave your family back home. Fuck you guys.
Later in college, I worked at McDonald's to earn spending money. Well, some of the people I worked with were raising families on that paycheck. They worked second or even third jobs to pay rent and buy food. That only gets harder when the cost of living goes up. When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans. As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans.
But how am I going to do it? That's a secret. First, you got to vote for me.
Like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved.
God, I would hope so.
And prices are still too high.
The pandemic was not yesterday.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
Lie. She has had almost 4 years to do something. Exactly. She's quoting these numbers of inflation, talking about how bread and milk is going up. This is on her watch. This is her responsibility. We could step back and say, okay, maybe it's not her fault, but as the leader of the country, you take the blame. You get the successes and you get the failures. So for her to be out here quoting that all these prices are going up, like, this is you. This is on your watch.
Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't. Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules. But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case.
So what I heard, what she wants to do is exactly what Venezuela did, where they limit the prices on these business. Economically, this doesn't work, and this just kind of furthers the stereotype that she is a communist, which isn't going to help her campaign at all. I mean, for stupid people that are like, oh yeah, she's going to bring the prices down, and they're not thinking of the long-lasting effect. They're not seeing these people in Venezuela who can't get any food anymore. They're going to state-run grocery stores and then trying to turn around and sell their food on the black market for double the price. Like this isn't helping her.
As Attorney General in California, I went after companies that illegally increased prices, including wholesalers that inflated the price of prescription medication, and companies that conspired with competitors to keep prices of electronics high. I won more than $1 billion for consumers. So believe me, as president, I will go after the bad actors. And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food. My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules, and we will support smaller food businesses that are trying to play by the rules and get ahead.
Do tell. How are you going to support them?
We will help the food industry become more competitive because I believe competition is the lifeblood of our economy.
This isn't competition if you're giving them money. I get that they're a small business, but that's not competition. You don't know what competition is.
Means lower prices for you and your families. Now compare what Donald Trump plans to do. He wants to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that we import from other countries. That will devastate Americans. It will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. And you know, economists have done the math. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. At this moment, when everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
If she's all about America first, why are we worried about imports? That's Trump's entire plan, is that he wants most things built in America. So she's complaining about taxes for overseas. That doesn't make sense.
As president, I'll take on the issue of the cost of health care. As Attorney General, I took on insurance companies and Big Pharma and got them to lower their prices. And together with President Biden, we've gone even further. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month, and the total cost.
So her plan is to sanction businesses who are price gouging and not tax imports. I wonder what that's going to do to the economy. Probably not hard to figure it out. She's worried about taxing her Gucci suits and jewelry. Exactly. I need proof of all of this. Well, she's supposed to lay out her plan in writing next week. I'm definitely wanting to see that. And I want to be fair, like going through it and to see what actually she wants to do. A lot of people are calling her a communist. Obviously, this kind of talk doesn't help when they're calling her a communist. But I want to see if she actually has like some communist plans. I want to see what she actually wants to do. Trump has his plan out. You can go to his website right now. He has a defined plan of what he wants to do, and you can say, I like it. I don't like it. I don't want to vote for this guy. I do want to vote for this guy. It's all there. It should be there. It should be, this is what I'm voting on, not I'm going to give you $1 billion. I'm going to lower the price of food. I'm going to lower the price of gas. Meanwhile, she's in the office right now.
And the total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. We let Medicare negotiate lower drug prices for seniors. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs.
Kamala.
And I pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors. And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. 2 months ago, I announced that medical debt will no longer be used against your credit score.
I'm for that. That's good.
And I will work as president with states like here in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, thank you again, to cancel medical debt for more and more, millions more Americans. As for Donald Trump, well, he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which 45 million Americans rely on. 45 million Americans rely on it for health care. That would take us back to a time when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that was.
What were these drugs and how much were they to begin with? Saving $1.25 on a $5 prescription is not really a flex. Yeah, I'd have to actually look into the numbers and see what she's talking about and see if these numbers are kind of embellished. But I don't know, to be honest. I'd have to look at it and see.
And we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And remember, and this is why we're not going back, because we do remember, he tried to cut Medicare every year he was president, threatening a program that tens of millions of seniors count on. And according to his Project 2025 agenda,
that's not
he
his.
intends to undo our work to bring down prescription drugs, the cost of prescription drugs, and insulin costs. Well, we've come too far to let that happen. So we're not going back on that, and let's talk about the cost of housing. So now, the housing market can be complicated, but look, I'm not new to this issue. As State Attorney General, I drafted and helped pass a homeowner bill of rights, one of the first in America. And during the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks for predatory lending with many of my colleagues, including Roy Cooper, and won $20 billion for California families when I was Attorney General.
Whoa.
So I know how to fight for people who are being exploited in the housing market. And I know what home ownership means. It's more than a financial transaction. It's so much more than that. It's more than a house. Home ownership and what that means,
I can't wait
it's
for the
a
debate.
symbol of the pride.
Absolutely. So they did agree on some debates. I think it's October, like mid October, I think, or September. Don't quote me on when it was. Yeah, it's next month. Next month, there's going to be the first debate between her and Trump, and that's going to be a total shit show. I can already tell you, it's going to be crazy. I will live stream it, of course. It's going to be a good time.
That comes with hard work. It's financial security. It represents what you will be able to do for your children. And sadly, right now, it is out of reach for far too many American families.
There are 45 million Medicare recipients. One of the drugs on their list, first 10 list, only has 17,000 prescribed users. Huh. That says a lot of something right there.
There's a serious housing shortage. In many places, it's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up. As president, I will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy. We will take down barriers and cut red tape, including at the state and local levels. And by the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class.
The most has 3.9 prescribed users. That's a better number, at least.
And we will do that together. We will do that together. And we will make sure those homes actually go to working and middle class Americans.
How?
Not just investors.
How? How are you going to do that?
Because, some corporate landlords, some of them buy dozens, if not hundreds of houses and apartments. Then they turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices. And it can make it impossible then for regular people to be able to buy or even rent a home.
So here's the emotion side of this problem. Now you explain what you're going to do to stop it. Don't just appeal to the emotion. Yes, people need homes. Yes, BlackRock's buying all the houses. I'm going to stop it. And then she cuts it off there. How are you going to stop it?
Some corporate landlords collude with each other to set artificially high rental prices, often using algorithms in price-fixing software to do it. It's anti-competitive.
That's called a market rate. You're not going to do away with a market rate.
And it drives up costs. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices.
So is she talking about rent control? Because all rent control does is make people stay in that home because they have a lower rent value, which doesn't help supply of houses at all. In fact, it makes it worse because people don't want to leave.
We also know that as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. Even if aspiring homeowners save for years, it often still is not enough. So in addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home.
So she's going to hand out $25,000 for first-time homeowners. Where does that money come from? That's your taxes. That's her raising taxes on you. You could be a renter for the rest of your life and not have to pay those taxes, but because now everybody thinks they're going to have a $25,000 grant, now your taxes are going to go up. Woo! We're paying more taxes. Yeah. can tax
can
you.
do this. All
Fucking idiot.
to help more Americans experience the pride of home ownership and the financial security that it represents and brings. So that's my plan. But here's what Donald Trump would do. If his Project 2025 agenda is put into effect, it will add around $1,200 a year to the typical American mortgage. He's got it backward. We should be doing everything we can to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less. Finally, there's one more way I will help families deal with rising costs, and that's by letting you keep more of your hard-earned money.
She lives in a fantasy world where she thinks that money just comes from nothing.
Under my plan, more than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut.
Yeah.
And we will do this by restoring 2 tax cuts designed to help middle-class and working Americans. The Earned Income Tax Credit.
So she's going to cut taxes while giving away money. What is that? That's called inflation. That's where inflation comes from. Boom. Increased cost. NYP stated there is a housing shortage of 7.2 million homes. She wants to build 3 million. Wonder how much that will cost. Like $8 billion for like 6 chargers. Yes. She will not go against all the big wigs that give her kickbacks. And I don't think either one of them would go against any kind of kickbacks. Both of these people want to screw you.
And the child tax credit. Through which millions of Americans with children got to keep more of their hard-earned income. We know this works and has a direct impact on so many issues, including child poverty. We know it works. So as president, I'll not only restore that tax cut, but expand it. We will provide $6,000 in tax relief to families during the first year of a child's life. Now think what that means. Think what that means. That is a vital, vital year of critical development of a child. And the cost can really add up, especially for young parents who need to buy diapers and clothes and a car seat and so much else. And we will do this while reducing the deficit. Compare my plan with what Donald Trump intends to do. He plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts year after year. And he plans to cut corporate taxes by over $1 trillion, even as they pull in record profits. And that's on top of the $2 trillion tax cut he already signed into.
So no more single moms complaining they're poor? I was a single dad. I couldn't complain about that.
Law when he was president.
They told your ass to go to work, didn't they?
Which, by the way, overwhelmingly went to the wealthiest Americans and corporations and exploded the national deficit. You know, I think that if you want to know who someone cares about, look who they fight for. Look who they fight for. Donald Trump fights for billionaires and large corporations. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
I made $25 too much to qualify for EBT. I was really down on my luck once. I was living in California, couldn't get a job, couldn't do anything. It was pretty bad. This was probably like, I think I was like 20. So I tried to get food stamps, right? I need some help. Walk into the office. The lady tells me, I don't qualify for food stamps because I'm not working. What? She said you have to at least be working part-time to qualify for food stamps. I'm telling her, obviously, if I had a job, I wouldn't be here. What the fuck? These programs are not here to help you. They never help.
So I'll end with this. 2 days ago, Donald Trump was here in North Carolina. He said he was going to talk about the economy. I think you all watched. You know what I'm about to say. But he offered no serious plans to reduce cost for middle class.
The things that they say about her, she quickly tries to push it back on Trump. She did it with the crowd size. She did it with just now not having a plan. Everything they say about her, she tries to deflect and put it back on him. And that seems to be her tactic for the campaign going forward.
Class families.
And even his policy ideas like the taxes on tips. Obviously, she stole that. She stole another one today too. It was JD Vance's idea. I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of tax. It was the child tax breaks. That was an idea from JD Vance. He brought that out. The Democrats called him weird for saying that and tried to make him some kind of weird, like, conservative family center guy. Made no sense. But basically, she took the child tax credit idea, put more money on it in the credit, and claimed it as her own. So far, her entire campaign is, I'm going to take their ideas and say they're mine. But to be fair, she has a plan to create the plan about the plan. That's what I mean, man. She's going to steal the ideas. That's her plan. She waits for Trump's plan, and then she just takes that plan. That's what she has going on for her.
No plan to expand access to housing or health care. And that, actually, I think for most of us, was not surprising. Because we already know his plans. We know the Project 2025 agenda. So there's a choice in this election.
Dude, she's going to get lit up in these debates. When she pulls that Project 2025 card and he has no ties to it, he's already said, what are you talking about? You're just talking about random things that have nothing to do with me. She's going to get lit up. She needs to come out with an actual plan. That's the only way she's going to win going forward. This is sad. This is just, it's depressing watching this train wreck.
Donald Trump's plans to devastate the middle class, punish working people, and make the cost of living go up for millions of Americans. And on the other hand, when I'm elected president, what we will do to bring down costs, increase the security and stability financially of your family, and expand opportunity for working and middle class Americans. So now is the time to chart a new way forward. Now is the time to chart a new way forward, to build to build an America where everyone's work is rewarded and talents are valued, where we work with labor and business to strengthen the American economy, and where everyone has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. So I thank you, North Carolina. We're going to get this done. And with your help, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. God bless you.
All right, so pretty much more of the same, more talk, more, I'm going to give you so much money. I'm going to give you all the money. I'm going to lower all your costs. How am I going to do it? I don't know. You got to vote for me.